Hey, welcome back. In this lecture, we're going to be talking about the jargon the pros use. Now, for those of you that do not know what the word jargon means, it's essentially the vocabulary or set of words or keywords that people use in their specific industry that others outside of that industry might not know what they mean. So they're just fancy terms for words to make you sound smarter, buzzwords or certain things that explain concepts or a process within an industry. And these are called buzzwords or jargon. And so in web design and development, there is a lot of jargon. And in this lecture, we're going to cover a few of the main ones so that you can understand going forward when I use these words. And as you discover what these words mean, that will be a benefit to you as we move forward. So let's check it out. So the first one we're going to talk about is a mood board. A mood board is a collage composed of colors, pictures, samples of objects, textures, screenshots, and so on and so forth to convey a mood or a direction of a design or brand. Mood boards are popular with graphic and web designers when presenting ideas or a direction they would like to go with a project. And this usually happens in a meeting, one of the initial meetings with a client, after you've discussed budget and everything like that, and you start getting into the creative phase. And a mood board is kind of literally, you could take in a big piece of cardboard with textures, samples, pictures, so on and so forth, fonts to convey, this is the style I'm trying to go for. So that's a mood board. A wireframe is a sketch or series of sketches on paper or screen that serves as a blueprint for a website layout. They are effective because they are quick to produce, focus on optimizing functionality, layout, and content organization without letting colors and style get in the way. So a lot of the time, wireframes are a great idea because it lets you figure out the most fundamental user experience concepts without bothering with colors and textures and everything like that. You just kind of get right down to the bare bones. How's this supposed to look? How's it supposed to work? Why does it work that way? Is there a better way of doing it? And sketching it is the easiest way, and wireframing is the easiest and best way to kind of get those ideas out in the open and to figure that out. A downside of wireframing is that it's an overhead. So if you don't have a big budget, spending time and money on wireframing might not be the best use of your time. So sometimes it's not very appealing to a client when you've dedicated 10 or 20 hours or $1,000 or $2,000 just to drawing boxes and lines on paper. Now, it is fundamentally important, and I truly believe in the power of user experience design and wireframing, but sometimes it's just not a good idea. Rough is the first draft of a layout after sketching is complete. It's called a rough because the first draft is often not directly on the mark and needs much more work before the design is perfect. Now, there's some gray area here for what a rough could be. It could be a sketch, it could be a design, it could be a mix of both, it could be wireframe, it could be a little bit further down in the design process, but basically it's essentially the first draft of a design or layout. And like I said, it's not usually on the mark, it's just kind of when you get your idea out there, and it's kind of your first kick at the can. A comp is the second draft of a layout or design once the roughs have been approved. So once the client or your team approves your rough or your set of roughs, then you can move into the second revision of that design, and that would be called a comp. A mock-up, an official final draft of a web design. This is usually done in software like Adobe Photoshop or Sketch, which is a Mac application. User, visitor, customer. So on the web, we refer to people who visit our websites, applications, and online stores as users, visitors, and customers. And so that's kind of just a handful of some of the jargon and vocabulary. They're used quite commonly, so I wanted to touch on those surface level jargon terms because I'm going to be using them throughout the course. So let's keep on moving.